Tyrone Bowman live. Welcome to the conversation on tonight and welcome to the program. I'm going to talk to you about an interesting article that I found in the Wall Street Journal. The headline reads, United States pauses all military aid to Ukraine. The move comes days after a contentious meeting that occurred between President Donald Trump and Ukraine President Zelensky. Before I do that, I would like to take the time to thank those of you who have subscribed to Tyrone Bowman Live. I appreciate your subscription, and I hope that many others who are passing through, just viewing or browsing, etc., that you will also take the time out to subscribe to Tyrone Bowman Live, because I may be talking about something that you really like and want to hear one day. You might not like the actual news stories, but I cover more than just news on this channel. This is a multi-purpose channel. I cover topics regarding everything. I hope you all saw the interview that I conducted on yesterday. If you didn't see it, go back and check it out. It's a very interesting interview. And for those of you who have subscribed to this channel, would you kindly tell some people that you know to subscribe to the channel as well? I'm trying to get the lighting together back here. I would sincerely appreciate it. Now let's get down to this article. As reported in the Wall Street Journal. The article was written by Nancy A. Youssef and Jared Malson. According to the Wall Street Journal, the U.S. will pause all military aid to Ukraine until President Trump determines that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is making a good faith effort toward peace negotiations with Russia. According to a White House official. Isn't that ironic? Why is this president so incensed with making peace with Russia? Just think about it for a moment. With all the conflict and everything that's going on here in America, why is it that the focus of the president is not on this economy, like they said during the presidential election? Remember? They said they're eating the dogs, quote, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the rats. We got to get rid of all these thugs and hoodlums and no good people in this country. Isn't that what was said during the campaign? Well, we're going to lower the price of eggs. We're going to lower the price of gas. The economy is out of control. Harris was no good. Harris is rotten, etc., etc. That was all the garbage we heard, and nothing is being done about this economy. Nothing. All the focus has been put on the de facto president, Elon Musk and Doge. Nothing regarding the everyday lives of Americans and those who put him into office. Nothing is being done for them. People are losing their houses. They're losing their jobs. Mortgages are out of control. People are being evicted. Prices on everything are continuously going up. And what is happening? They want to concentrate on giving money-grabbing, greedy billionaires more tax cuts and more tax breaks. Midterm elections are coming up, 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, we all can make a difference in this upcoming election, regardless of our political persuasion. If you like things the way they are, don't do anything. But the Congressional Oversight Committee and Congress can change next year. We can make a difference. Let's get back to this article. Quote, the president has been clear that he is focused on peace. We need our partners to be committed to that goal as well. We are pausing and reviewing our aid to ensure that it is contributing to a solution. Close quote, a White House official said in a statement. It's called strong arming tactics. It's called trying to make Zelensky do what they want him to do because they want that titanium. They want a part of those natural resources and money that goes along with it. That's what they want. The White House didn't say under what conditions the U.S. would resume aid or whether it will be at the same time. While there isn't a clear understanding of what Washington wants from Kyiv, the decision was the most demonstrative U.S. shift from Ukraine's once top ally. The U.S. decision comes days after a contentious meeting between Trump and Zelensky at the White House, which was a fiasco. The tense exchange Friday raised fears across Europe that the U.S. would be moving away from the wider Western alliance. The U.S. has proven more than 100, or pardon me, the U.S. has provided rather more than $120 billion in aid since Russia invaded Ukraine 3 years ago, including, listen to this, $67.3 billion in military aid. But what about people here in America? Why can't the average person in America get the help that they need? How come people can't get help paying their bills? How come people can't get help against evictions? How come everyday Americans who vote for these sleazy politicians put them in office and put them in power because they lied and cheated and said they were going to be concerned about them? How come people cannot get the help that they need on an everyday basis? Why can't our seniors get the help that they need? Seniors are starving. Seniors are hungry. You're cutting the Moms on Wheels program. Seniors are languishing in assisted living facilities, nursing homes, whatever they want to call them. Unless you're rich and you're powerful and you have connections, and nobody care about you. If you're everyday people, then they want you to suffer. $67.3 billion in military aid, but it also provided intelligence training and rallied the international community to support Ukraine. European nations contributed an additional $138 billion in military aid and humanitarian aid, according to the Kiev Institute for the World Economy, a research group in Germany. Where did all this money go? Maybe there is a point to stopping aid to Ukraine. Maybe President Trump does have a vital point after all. That's a lot of money that's being spent. The decision immediately divided Trump's Republican Party, some of whom had, until recently, urged the U.S. to continue its support of Kyiv. Quote, stopping support for Ukraine would jeopardize the stability of Europe and the free world, close quote. Representative Mike Lawler, a Republican from New York, said on X, quote, there are strong opinions on both sides of this issue, and I respect that. However, we must be pragmatic about the bigger picture and protect America's interest abroad, close quote, he added. Quote, President Trump is right to halt U.S. weapon shipments to Ukraine. If Zelensky wants to continue fighting an endless war, let him do it himself, close quote. Representative Miller, Republican from Illinois, said on X, quote, the U.S. will no longer participate in this conflict that has led to the deaths of thousands. It's time for peace, close quote. And it's time for peace in Gaza. Oh, we don't want to talk about that, right? It's time for the Israeli, the Hamas, and the Gazian conflict to end. It's time for brighter heads to prevail, brighter minds to prevail. It's time for people to sit down at the negotiating table and get this war over with once and for all. Too many people have been murdered. Too many people have been slaughtered. And the rebuilding of Gaza is going to take billions and billions and billions of dollars. Somebody has to come up with a plan. The Trump administration had previously stopped financing new weapon sales to Ukraine, another move that threatened Kyiv's ability to fight at a critical time in its battle against Russian forces, current and former U.S. officials said. Trump Monday said that Zelensky should be, quote, more appreciative because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin, close quote. A proposed minimal rights deal between the United States and Ukraine would provide Kyiv with added security, even without explicit U.S. defense guarantees sought by Zelensky, because the U.S. would have a, quote, presence there, close quote, Trump said. Earlier Monday, Trump lashed out publicly at Zelensky for saying the war with Russia was likely to continue for some time. Quote, this is the worst statement that could have been made by Zelensky, and America will not put up with it for much longer, close quote. Trump wrote on his social media platform, Truth Social, urging or using a different spelling of the Ukrainian leader's name. A U.S. weapons cutoff would leave Ukraine less able to withstand Russia's attacks. Analysts said Ukraine wouldn't surrender tomorrow or next year or next week, but they would lose military capability gradually, and at some point they would face defeat, said Mark Sakanian, a retired Marine Corps colonel and former U.S. official, now at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, a Washington think tank. The Trump administration in late January ordered a stop to all foreign aid, including military aid, except to Israel and Egypt, without a waiver. On Friday, the administration said it was sending Israel nearly $3 billion in new weapons, including more than 35,000 new 2,000-pound bombs, invoking an emergency rule under U.S. arms control laws. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in recent weeks signed a waiver to exempt Ukraine from the ban Trump imposed on foreign assistance, but senior State Department official Peter Marocco hasn't sent a required letter to the Pentagon to allow the aid to flow to Kyiv, current officials said. Withholding the letter has resulted in a de facto halt to new weapons deals for Ukraine using the U.S. foreign military financing system, which is managed by the State Department and pays for weapons for some countries, according to current and former U.S. officials familiar with the situation. Ukraine is able to get weapons from the U.S. through several means, including foreign military financing, which provides loans and grants for nations to buy weapons from the U.S. defense companies, and the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, which allows the Pentagon to buy weapons for Kyiv, but is currently out of funds. However, Presidential Drawdown Authority, which allows the Defense Department to pull directly from its own stockpiles, has been the most significant tool for arming Ukraine. On Monday, the White House is holding a meeting to consider suspending shipments using the Drawdown Authority, a congressional aide and a second person familiar with the matter said. The shutdown of financing new weapons sales before Friday's acrimonious meeting, during which Ukraine and the U.S. were supposed to sign a framework agreement for a mineral rights deal, but instead canceled the ceremony and a scheduled press conference. But the meeting to consider suspending ongoing weapons shipment or suspending ongoing weapons shipments to Ukraine drawn from U.S. military inventories emerged after the Friday blowup at the White House. The State Department declined to comment. Without new U.S. military aid, Ukraine likely has enough weapons to keep fighting Russia at its current pace until the middle of this year, current and former Western officials said. That is the result, in part, of a surge of weapons approved by the Biden administration in its final days. Over the weekend, European leaders held a summit in London and agreed to form a coalition to forge a Ukraine peace plan to present to Trump. That would include ground troops and military assets. Zelensky, I don't think you understand. You're not going to get what you want until that deal is signed. The deal must be signed. That's the bottom line. There's no wavering from it. There's no negotiating. The military aid to Ukraine is not going to come until that deal, the mineral rights deal, has been signed. That's it. Sign the deal, brother. European allies in Ukraine's own growing defense industry can make up for some of the potential shortfall, but an end to U.S. aid would cut Ukraine's access to advanced weapons systems that are important to its broader strategy of countering Russia's full-scale assault on its territory. If the U.S. shutdown persists, Ukraine would lose its supply of some sophisticated weapons, including advanced air defense systems. Let's check this out: surface-to-surface ballistic missiles, navigation systems, and long-range rocket artillery. The U.S. is the sole producer of some systems, including Army Tactical Missile Systems, or they call it ATACMS, and M142 High Mobility Artillery Rocket Systems, or HIMARS. That's what that stands for, which gave the Ukrainians the ability to strike far beyond Russian lines. Once those U.S. suppliers run out, Ukraine's ability to conduct longer range strikes and to protect its own rear positions would suffer, officials and analysts said. Europe can step in to meet a fair amount of Ukraine's need for artillery ammunition when combined with munitions already shipped by the U.S. early this year, said Michael Kaufman, a senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, who frequently visit Ukrainian found frontline units. The challenges will be more visible as we get into the summer. Over time, Ukraine could find it harder to make longer term plans for a military arsenal or to buy parts for existing systems. Ukraine currently builds or finances about 55% of its military hardware. The U.S. supplies around 20%, while Europe supplies 25%. The Trump administration has sent some of the weapons promised by the Biden administration, the Pentagon said, including hundreds of guided missile launch rocket systems, and anti-tank weapons and thousands of artillery rounds that Ukraine is employing on the battlefield when they are available from our stocks. The last major new arms package for Ukraine was on December 30th during the Biden administration and included some advanced weapons like munitions for air defense systems, Stinger missiles, and other weapons. The package was worth $1.22 billion. No new weapons transfers have been announced since. There are over $3 billion in funds to draw from existing stockpiles that have been authorized by Congress, but not allocated by the administration, the congressional aide said. So, if you'd like to write to Nancy A. Yusof, you can write to her at nancy.yusof at wsj.com, and you can write to Jared Mousen at jared.mousen at wsj.com. Tyrone Bowman. Thank you all for watching. Never surrender. Never quit.